Good morning and a very warm welcome to everyone joining us today for ICONSTARS 2026, the International Conference for Student Academic Research. I am your moderator for this morning session. So before we dive in, a quick word about myself. I am Dr. Pooja, a project mentor and manager at Global R Hub. So it's a real privilege to be moderating today's conference and to be a part of this wonderful gathering of researchers, students, faculty, and mentors. So this year's theme is Interconnect 2026, a holistic approach to research, and it feels fitting that we are gathering on a virtual stage where we connect students, faculty, and mentor across institutions and geographies into one community to celebrate a rigorous question regarding research. And I will be watching for those and will bring you in the right moments. So please keep yourself muted through the session and use chat or raise hand feature if you would like to ask a question. So, to open today's conference, it's my privilege to invite Dr. Neharika Shrivastava, Director of Global R Hub, to deliver the welcome address and opening remarks. Dr. Niharika, over to you, please.
Hey, good morning, everyone. So it's so nice to see all of you, Saturday morning on the same platform and, moving towards something really productive. So here we are, Interconnect 2026, a holistic approach to research. I am Dr. Neharika Shrivastava, Director, Global Research Hub. Now, it gives me an immense pleasure to welcome you all to ICONSTAR 2026 Interconnect, a holistic approach to research. A very warm welcome to our distinguished speaker, academician, researcher, project mentor, students, and everyone joining us today. I would especially like to welcome the young researchers who are presenting their work today. For many of you, this may be your first experience of presenting your research at an academic conference. And I want to begin by saying something very simple. You have already achieved something important by being here because research does not begin with a publication. Research begins with a question. It begins when a question like this comes from a student. Why this happen? Can this be improved? What can we learn from this, etc. And that curiosity is the foundation of any good research. Now, let me start why does this research matter? Today, we live in a world where information is readily available. We can search Google, we can use any database, we can use artificial intelligence, we can access thousands of research paper within seconds. But having access to information does not make you a researcher. The real research skill is the ability to identify the meaningful problem, evaluate information critically, ask the right question, collect evidence, analyze it, and communicate what we have learned. And that is why research is so valuable for students. Now, research teaches any individual how you think. It teaches you to move beyond simply asking, what is the answer? Instead, ask, how do we know that that is the answer? That shift from accepting information to critically evaluating information is one of the most important skills a student can develop. Now, coming to research and academic success. For student, research can have tremendous value beyond simply producing a paper. When you conduct research, you develop critical thinking, analytical ability, problem solving, academic writing, communication, and independent learning. These are not skills that are useful only in laboratories or in universities. When you eventually apply to university, particularly competitive universities internationally, your academic profile is not defined just by your grades. Universities and any renowned university, they really actually want to understand what are you curious about? What problem do you actually care? Can you think independently? Can you explore a question beyond textbook? A genuine research experience can help demonstrate exactly that. But
19.
I want to emphasize one important point. Research should not be undertaken simply because it looks good on a university application. No. The value of research is that it changes the way you think. A student who has learned how to conduct research has learned how to approach an unfamiliar problem, and that ability to is valuable in every academic discipline and obviously for every career also. Now, coming to publication, from an idea to a contribution. There is often a misconception that publishing a research paper means simply getting your name on a journal article. That is not the real purpose of publication. Publication is about taking an idea, investigating it systematically, sharing your findings with a wider academic community. So when you publish, you are essentially saying, I investigated this question. I followed a particular method. I found some results. And here is what I believe the results mean. You're, you are putting your thinking into some public academic space. And that requires responsibility. It requires academic integrity, proper referencing, honest analysis, respect for evidence, and willingness to accept criticism. A good researcher does not try to prove they are right. No. A good researcher tries to discover what the evidence tells us. Now, that brings me to another equally important part of today's conference, presenting your research. You may have conducted excellent research, all of you. You may have analyzed data correctly. You may have written a very good paper. But if you cannot communicate your findings clearly, the impact of your research becomes very limited. That is why I personally encourage every student or researcher presenting today to think of this conference not as an examination, but as an opportunity. When you come on a screen today, speak with confidence. You don't need to sound like a professor. You don't have to use any complicated words. You simply need to understand your research and communicating your ideas clearly. Tell us, while you're presenting today, what was your question? Why did you ask it? How did you investigate it? What did you discover? And most important, why does your research matter? So these are some of the tips I would like to give to all the researchers today. And believe me, don't be afraid of questions today. And if any audience asks you a difficult question and you feel that, oh God, it's like, I'm feeling nervous. You don't have to know everything in research, believe me. One of the most important sentence a researcher can say is, that's an interesting question and I would like to explore that further. Few case. So, research is not about knowing everything. Research is about recognizing what we don't know yet. Sometimes the question we cannot answer today becomes the research project for future. So students, please don't be afraid today. Good luck to you and welcome all of you once again, because every good question has the potential to open a new research direction. So good luck to all of you. Thank you so much.